So thank you everyone for being here. For those of you who don't know me, I see some familiar faces, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ashley Dwyer, and I am the Director of Career Services and Employer Relations at Rockefeller College of Public Affairs and Policy right here at UAlbany. So I'm really excited to talk to you all today about our internship requirements and documentation process for Rockefeller graduate students. Particularly our MPA, Masters of Public Administration, and MIA, Masters of International Affairs program, but I'll be talking about how this could be applicable for other master's program at Rockefeller as well. We will certainly, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to address them at the end, and feel free to put them in the chat as well. So just a little bit as we kind of approach the start of the school year, I just wanted to do an overview of our support staff. So obviously there's myself, as I mentioned. There's my colleague, Joan Marceau. She's our undergraduate internship and career coordinator. I think many of you know her or have worked with her. But in particular, I really want to point out that we've hired a new staff member, which we're really excited about. Christina Cardona joined us as our coordinator of internships and career programming. And we have a new graduate assistant, Addison Arnold, as well. So this is just a little information with our contact information, our locations, our drop-in office hours. So myself and Christina are located primarily on the downtown campus, whereas Joan is located primarily on the uptown campus. Christina will be working with both undergraduate and graduate students, and so she does have a day uptown as well on Mondays, if you ever want to connect with her then. We are all offering office hours, as you can see here. Mine are actually Thursdays from 3 to 4, so I'll make that adjustment on the PowerPoint, and Fridays from 12 to 2. Joan is Wednesdays from 2 to 4, and I'll be adding in Christina's as she recently finalized hers, and hers are Mondays, I believe, from 2 to 4, and Tuesdays from 1 to 3. So I'll be updating the PowerPoint accordingly, but certainly feel free to attend our drop-in hours, no appointment necessary. If you have any questions about this process or about your career path in general, always feel free to schedule an appointment with myself or a member of our staff as well outside of those office hours. So you can schedule the appointment right on Handshake. We do in-person appointments, Zoom appointments, so we try to accommodate it to your needs. So if you're not located downtown, but you want to connect with Christina or I, you can still schedule like a Zoom appointment, for example, to make it more feasible and easy for yourself. Okay, so this presentation in particular is really primarily tailored to our MPA, our Masters of Public Administration, and our MIA, our Masters of International Affairs programs, because those two programs have required internship, a component for graduation. So those students in those programs have to complete an internship in order to graduate. So our MPA students have to do 350 hours, and our MIA students have to do 400 hours of required internship experience before moving forward with graduation. What can make it confusing for some students is that it is 0 credit. So it's not a credit-bearing internship per se. It's simply a graduation requirement. So it is something that we ask students to track really specifically on Handshake, and I'll be going through that process. And that's so we know that you've completed that component before graduation. Now, for MA students in our political science or criminal justice programs too, it's optional, but certainly encouraged. And those two programs can receive academic credit. So, you know, certainly it's something that we encourage. We'll be happy to assist students in those programs as well with seeking out graduate level internships and going through search strategies and processes for that. And so certainly feel free to connect with our office through office hours or through an appointment, and we'll be happy to assist with that process. And we have many resources for you as well. Now, there might be some combined students on this program or on this presentation. What's important for combined students to know is that essentially combined students are ones that are going through kind of an accelerated BA MPA program, for example, or BA MIA program. What's important for those students to know is that you need to be fully, your undergraduate requirements need to be fully complete, meaning you have fully graduated with your undergrad degree, you've completed all coursework before you can officially count a graduate level internship towards this requirement for the MPA program, for example. So if you're still taking undergraduate coursework, let's say you're taking 2 graduate courses and 1 undergrad course, you cannot count an internship towards a graduate program requirement. So you have to be completed with the undergraduate degree and requirements before you can process, track, and count an internship for your grad internship requirement. I just want to emphasize that. International students may have some specific regulations related to their visa, so that you should certainly consult with the International Student Scholar Services Office. I think I got that right, ISSS. They'll be able to talk to you about visa options as it pertains to your internship. So that's important to consult with them prior, because it's my understanding that sometimes that process can take some time. And it's important that students are in good academic standing at the graduate level in order to proceed with their internship counting towards that requirement. So students with a GPA below 3.0 may not be eligible, are traditionally not eligible to participate in the internship and have it count. There is a appeal process for that, but we are strongly encouraging students to be in good academic standing before they're counting that towards their internship requirement. So what will your internship look like? So first and foremost, it needs to be related to your field. So at there's the main difference between the undergraduate level internship and the graduate level internship is that you're attaining skill sets at a higher, more involved level. And so that you're able to gain more in-depth, higher level, hands-on experience that will not only meet our criteria per our accreditation, but also more importantly, allow you to gain the skills and the experience necessary to be successful in your career post-grad and attaining whatever position you want to get. And so first and foremost, it needs to be relevant to your field. That's very important. And you also need to be gaining, particularly for our MPA and MIA students, you need to be gaining some combination of the following skills and competencies. So this could include research and evaluation, written and oral communication skills, data organization, specifically qualitative and or quantitative analysis. So not just tracking data, but analyzing data, for example, program evaluation, policy analysis, constituent and stakeholder relations. So these requirements are obviously a little more strict for MPA and MIA students because they have that internship requirement that has to align with our accreditation and help them progress in their career. But for MA students, whether you're political science or criminal justice, it's not quite as strict, but we would actually encourage you to have, to pursue similar opportunities, because the whole reason these criteria are in place is to help you, really gain the skills necessary, like I said, at that graduate higher level to be able to apply them and be competitive in the job market post-grad with your master's degree, which is a different obvious, there's a difference obviously between that and the undergraduate degree. So in terms of location, it does not have to be local to Albany, but certainly we have a lot of students who end up doing it local to Albany. But it could be in other locations. We've had students intern in New York, in DC, in Boston. We've had students do remote internships. Right here, it'd be remote right here in Albany for an organization in DC, for example. So right now we have a few graduate students in DC participating in internships and taking their courses remotely. So I know that the college will offer remote course options to make it more easier for students to be able to, pursue those internships in other locations while still attaining their course requirements. So it does not have to be in Albany. Obviously, there's a lot of opportunity right here in Albany, particularly for our MPA program, given that we are in extremely close proximity to the Capitol and New York State agencies. They're right in our backyard. So obviously there's a benefit there. And what I'll say is there is also a benefit to having an in-person component, in my opinion, to your internship, because it gives you a little bit more of that hands-on exposure. But with that being said, you can do a remote internship, you can do a hybrid internship, you can do an in-person internship. So we're quite flexible when it comes to that, to be able to allow you guys to pursue the right opportunities that make sense for you. So When can you do your internship? You can do it summer, fall, or spring. So it's really more up to you as to what's going to work best with your timing in your program. What we find is that most of the students who have the required internship will pursue it in the summer after their first year because they're not taking courses or as many courses, and they're able to do more internship hours potentially if they want to. And so they can get closer to fulfilling that over the summer. However, you're welcome to do it in the spring, in the fall, or the spring as well. Generally speaking, students will do more full-time hours in the summer and part-time hours, obviously, in the fall or the spring. But we do have some students who will do a full-time internship in the spring, for example, like with our New York State Assembly Graduate Scholars Internship Program partnership. And sometimes students will do part-time in the summer as well. It's really up to you. You do not need to complete your internship all in one placement. You can expand that to multiple internships, or you can also, let's say you're extending a summer internship into the fall, you can combine your hours from summer and fall to reach that 350 or 400 threshold. Now, for the MA students in political science or criminal justice, the hour requirement will be different because it will be credit bearing, and you will connect with the department, the faculty department chair to discuss what that will look like from an academic standpoint and an hour requirement. But for MPA and MIA students, again, for MPA, it's at 350 hours, and for MIA, it's at 400 hours of internship. A tip is don't leave this for your last semester, particularly if this is a requirement for MPA and MIA students. We recommend that you start no later than your third semester. And be aware of application deadlines. Before I get into that, I'll just say this. Have we had students complete their internship in their final semester? Yes, we have. But we generally don't recommend waiting until then, because then it can become stressful to make sure that you get an internship in that last semester. We do have some graduate internship partners like the New York State Assembly Graduate Scholars Program that typically recruits second semester masters. So we've had some students take that route where they're doing that internship in the second year master's students. So they're doing that in the second year of their master's in the spring. And so that does happen. But generally speaking, it's good for you to pursue an internship even prior to that, even to have multiple experiences and multiple, opportunities to learn about your field and develop skills that will be relevant for you post-grad. So, the message overall is to not wait for this. You don't have to rush into it. For those of you just starting your graduate programs, it's not common that students will do it in the fall. We do have a few, but certainly you're not, mandated by any means to pursue this in the fall or even in the spring. Like I said, the most common time is the summer, but so there's no rush, but you also don't want to keep it until the last minute. Be aware of internship application deadlines. So generally speaking, employers who are hiring, let's say for spring internships, are doing so, late summer into early fall. Employers who are hiring for summer internships are doing so in late fall to early spring. And employers who are hiring for fall internships are doing, late spring to early summer. However, you want to be aware of those application deadlines because some organizations hire well in advance. So I'm going to give you a few examples. We're working with a few private companies to promote internship opportunities, including KPMG with their state and local solutions, and Deloitte GPS, the Government and Public Services Division. And they are recruiting now for summer, right? Another good example is, if we have any criminal justice majors on the call, is that the FBI recruits a year and a half in advance for their honors internship program. That's a new change. It used to be a year. Now it's a year and a half. So that means the summer 2025 internships with the FBI, for example, are filled, but they will be recruiting this February for summer 2026. So those are just a few examples, all of which to say, not to scare you, all of which to say some select organizations and companies recruit in advance. Some will do it on a more typical timeline, like I mentioned, right, the semester prior, but some will do it in advance based on their own need or timelines, things of that nature. So this kind of goes through an overview timeline of internship and documentation. So the first step is to, find an internship. And what I will say about that is, what's important, especially for MPA and MIA students, what is important is that you make sure it meets our criteria. So if you are unsure if it does, based solely on the application link or even your interview, what's important is that you connect with our office prior to make sure that that particular opportunity aligns with the graduate level criteria before you accept a position. So we just generally recommend that students in those programs, students in general, but students in those programs connect with our office to make sure their internships will meet the graduate criteria and requirements. Once that's been cleared and it's clear that this is a good opportunity for you to pursue and it's going to meet the criteria, the next step is to register your experience in Handshake, which we will do a quick demo at the end. The third step is to do your internship and complete your mid-semester evaluation. So there's going to be some documentation required throughout your internship. And one piece of that documentation is for you and your supervisor to complete a mid and final evaluation. These are timed throughout the semester. You will get notifications from Handshake. I'll go over that. But the fourth and final step will be to finalize the rest of your documentation, which will be an internship hours log that is signed by you and your supervisor, your final evaluation, like I said, and an updated resume. So if you have any questions about this process, you can always contact me. Our office will be happy to help with this. Christina Cardona is going to be integral in with the internship approval process for graduate students as well. So like I said, step one is to find your internship and get approval from our office. So like I said, it's just important to make sure, is it meeting those criteria and those skills, research, communication, policy analysis, constituent relations, et cetera, data organization? Is the position meeting the skills necessary? If there's any question about it, or generally speaking, come and chat with us. What I'm going to say too is it's extremely important for you to be pursuing internships that you're interested in as well. So yes, they need to meet the criteria, but you also need to be interested in those opportunities. So it's important that this is aligning with your career goals. And that's one area we can help with too. If you're, unsure as to whether this is going to be a good fit, we can talk about that with you. I'll also note that the interview process can be very telling for you in that, in that sense as well. So going through the interview process, asking questions, learning about the organization and position can be very helpful as well. So like I said, it's got to be related to your field. So MPA students, it has to be related to public administration. MIA students, it has to be related to international affairs. There's a little wiggle room with that in the sense of we've had some MIA students pursue some public administration related opportunities and vice versa, and they've still been approvable because they have similar criteria. Again, if there's any question, just contact us. And for our MA students, certainly the criteria will be a little bit different, like I mentioned, depending on, the faculty member you work with and the credit bearing aspect of it. But, certainly, pursuing opportunities with those skills is going to be helpful too, so that you're getting that graduate level experience. Certainly review our job and internship search handbook. It contains many resources, websites, helpful links for you to search for openings that match your interests. For example, in there we have Handshake, LinkedIn, Idealist, several general search links in addition to federal links with USA Jobs, USA Federal Internship Portal, Partnership for Public Service, Federal Internship Finder, state positions, New York State Internship Portal, nonprofit organizations. So tons of resources and links in there, pages 3 to 5 of the job and internship handbook. Not to mention we have a weekly Rock Your Career newsletter where we have a whole job board at the end. The newsletter is quite lengthy. I know it's because we have a lot to tell you about from a career perspective in terms of programming, events, job and internship and fellowship opportunities for, master's students. But we bookmark everything to make it really easily accessible to you. So in particular, reviewing that, but really looking at the job and internship board towards the end of the newsletter will be helpful for you. Not only should you meet with us to make sure your internship is a right fit in terms of criteria and goals, but certainly also in preparation for your internship. So this is a process, this whole application process from, preparing to apply to getting an internship will take time. And so with that being said, prepare in advance, connect with our office to, whether it's to review your resume, your cover letter, other application materials, or, do a mock interview or do some interview prep leading into an interview. We're here to help you every step of the way. And it's important for you to put your best foot forward with your application materials. So if they have not been reviewed or critiqued or updated in a while, it's critical for you to do so. I know I have some members of my class on the call today, and so that'll be incorporated into the course assignments, but it's helpful for you to do, generally speaking, and we can review those document materials with you prior to applying. So make sure, again, be aware of those application deadlines. If you're interested in an application that has a deadline coming up of, let's say a week from today or even 2 weeks from today, you want to start to say, okay, I haven't had my resume review in 6 months. I need to schedule an appointment or go to drop-ins to have it looked at prior to, as well as my cover letter prior to submitting my application. That's highly recommended to make sure you're putting your best foot forward. So prepare in advance, and certainly ask us. I will update this PowerPoint. It's actually myself. So you'll contact, not Joan, you'll contact myself currently to confirm that it will count towards your degree requirements. So step 2 is begin your internship and register it on Handshake. So there is a 2-step approval process for your internship documentation tracking on Handshake. So the first approval is our office, and the second approval is your internship site supervisor. And so, once you have clarity that this is going to be a good experience for you, it's going to meet our criteria, you're going to submit it on Handshake for approval. Once our office approves it, then your internship site supervisor will be notified to approve it. Once it's approved by both parties, you'll receive a welcome email with next steps and documentation. And yeah, so we'll go through a little bit of a process with that. If you have any questions, certainly, let us know. What I will say too is that we highly recommend that you submit your internship for approval by the time you start your internship and no later than 2 weeks after your internship. It's, we've had some students who submit them a little delayed, and then it just messes up the timeline of the internship tracking and documentation. I mean, we can accommodate it, but it's not ideal. So please be timely about when you're submitting your internship for approval on Handshake. So I just kind of went over that piece. When you're submitting it for approval on Handshake, it's important to include a detailed job description and check the accuracy of your supervisor's name and contact information so that we can make sure we're contacting the right person to approve it on their end. We make it pretty simple for internship site supervisors. They don't need to create Handshake accounts to complete this process or the supervisor evaluations. They will simply get links to approve it and to open it up into a web page and approve it and complete the evaluation. So once it's approved on Handshake, like I said, you'll get a welcome email, and next steps will be to submit your student supervisor expectation form, and you'll receive next steps on documentation and tracking, including how to track your internship hours through a log, and what to expect in terms of mid and final evaluations for both you and your supervisor. I'll be including a new Microsoft Forms link there that we're creating for the student supervisor expectation form. In the interim, it's a document, so you'll receive that. So step 3 will be internship mid-semester evaluation. So like I said, there's 2 evaluations that you and your supervisor need to complete, a mid and a final. The first one will be a mid evaluation. It's typically pre-scheduled in Handshake right in the middle of the semester. And so you'll get an email from Handshake about that. So it's important to check Handshake emails for these purposes. Sometimes it's easy to just trash them, or they end up in your junk or your spam or your other mailboxes. So make sure that you're checking for those to make sure you're getting those notifications and completing these timely. So, with regards to that mid-semester check-in, make sure when you're in your internship that, you're complete when you're doing it, when you're in the office, that you're professional and that you're have an awareness that you are representing yourself in the university. And so this is important because not only will you provide an evaluation of your experience and your work with your supervisor and the organization, but they will provide an evaluation of their experience working with you and generally speaking, ways to improve things like that. So, like I said, they're sent out by our office through Handshake. It's really through Handshake. And so check your spam folders. You can always schedule a meeting with myself to discuss your experience, any concerns, next steps in the placement, things like that midway through. We even have an appointment type that's called this. So certainly feel free to schedule an appointment. And step 4 will be to finish your internship and submit your final material. So your final evaluations, your internship hour logs, and your updated resume. So we've created internship hour logs per semester that help calculate the total for you, but it's your responsibility to put in, your daily and monthly hours. And we recommend doing that in real time so that you don't forget when you worked and things like that, in case that's an issue. Some people have more consistent hours, but it's always good to do it in real time just to make sure, you're accurate with your number of hours. Again, if you don't complete, for example, if you're an MPA student and by the end of the semester, you don't complete your 350 hours, let's say you get to 280, that's okay because you can always finish those hours through a second placement, or let's say you continue into the next semester with that same internship. That will work as well in terms of continuing your hours and having those hours combined to meet the 350. We ask students to track these internship hours on a semester basis. So every semester you have to resubmit an internship if you're doing an internship. So if you're doing a new internship, you need to submit it for that semester. If, let's say you did a summer internship that extends into the fall, you still need to resubmit that same summer internship for fall. That's how we track our internships, is per semester. So I know it's a little redundant in that sense if you're extending your internship from summer to fall, for example, but it's the best way for us to track your hours and track all the documentation necessary. So like I said, that final evaluation from both you and your supervisor are going to be required, as well as your internship hour long that will be signed by both you and your supervisor. It needs to be uploaded to Handshake, and as well as a updated resume that includes your new internship needs to be uploaded to Handshake. So that means at the conclusion of your internship or even throughout, it's important that you're updating your resume with your new experience and submitting that new resume to your Handshake internship experience. That's important for us to be able to take a look at it and maybe reach out if we think we want to kind of go over your new resume with you, or go over any revisions or edits. And all of these components need to be completed by the designated due date for internship hours to be counted towards your graduation requirements. So stay on top of it. It can be easy to have this fall towards the bottom of the priority list, but when you're stay on top of it. And when you're getting those notifications from Handshake and from our office, make sure to pay attention so you can complete everything that you need to do. If you have any questions, you can reach out to our general office email here, rockefeller.careers@albany.edu, or you can reach out to me directly as well for any help. Again, you can schedule appointments, you can attend drop-in hours. And for those of you on the call, or, we'll make sure to follow up to share some presentation materials with you, make a few of the edits here too. So like I said, if you're continuing that internship into the following term, or if you're starting a new internship, let's say you did a summer internship and you got a new internship for fall with a different organization, either way, you need to create a new experience in Handshake for every internship or for a continued internship, and making sure that you complete all of the steps. The only exception is if you're doing a fall internship that's continued from the summer, we won't ask you to resubmit the student supervisor expectation form. That's the only exception. So it says here down here, even after you've reached your degree requirement, we still strongly encourage students to register your experiences so we can support you if you ever need some help. So yeah, and not to mention, even after you reach that hour requirement for MPA and MIA students, we still encourage you to continue to look for internship opportunities if you're still in the program, because having more experience will only help you. the hours can sound like a lot to some students initially, but to be honest with you, most of our students not only meet that requirement to graduate, but many of them exceed it through a second or a third internship or an extended internship. So that's only going to give you more hands-on experience to allow you to really gain the exposure, the experience, and the skills and competencies necessary to get that next higher level position post master's degree. So we can also help you as you conclude your internship and maybe you're preparing for job applications or fellowship applications. We can certainly help with that too. That goes not just for MPA, MIA students, but really all Rockefeller students. If we have any non-Rock students on the call, which I don't think we do, but if we do, certainly I can assist and answer a few questions or help, but generally speaking, you need to go to either the central career office, career and professional development office on the Uptown campus, or to your respective school. So for example, the School of Business has a career center. The CEHC has their own kind of representatives to assist with that as well. So you can always come to me initially and I can refer you, or, you can certainly just go to those career centers respectively. Some students might be asking about waivers or certainly inquiring about the option to waive this requirement as a result of working full-time. So we do have some students in the MPA. This is really only applicable for MPA and MIA students because it's a part of the requirement. If you're not MPA or MIA, you don't need to worry about completing an internship waiver application. But if you are in those programs and you are working full-time and you want to consider the option of applying for an internship waiver, and I say that because it's not an automatic approval. We obviously have to review the applications to make sure it meets the criteria that I kind of discussed. So certainly that is an option for you to apply, particularly if you are working in a relevant position in your field, gaining the necessary criteria and skill sets for the waiver application. So if that's something you're interested in, you would submit an application, which would require you to fill out the internship waiver form. We'll be updating that process shortly and providing a detailed position description along with a resume. We review applications on a rolling basis throughout the semester, typically on a monthly basis. So be patient with us because it can take some time as we're kind of receiving applications. There's really two ways to be eligible for this. There is prior significant work experience, or there is concurrent employment. So basically previous significant experience means you have a minimum of 2 years of relevant work experience in the field, whereas concurrent is you have less than 2 years and you're working while in the program as well. Again, must be related to public administration, policy and/or international affairs, depending on your program. It's actually just full-time work experience within the field that will make you eligible for this waiver. We no longer accept part-time work experience, so you would have to be working full-time to apply to this waiver. So if that's certainly something you can apply for. I usually recommend that you schedule an appointment with us anyways to talk about it, to make sure, kind of talk through your career goals, your position, whether it aligns, what makes the most sense for you in the program, to make sure that you're advancing professionally, all of that. Just kind of wrapping up with some resources, and then we're going to do resources and some services, and then we'll do a brief demo of the Handshake process too. So some resources that we recommend you connect with this is our website, which also provides all of our career handbooks, including our job and internship handbook, which incorporates that graduate level internship criteria, job and internship search links and resources, all of that. So certainly access our website for that. This is a document on how to register an internship on Handshake, instructions. I'll be going over that momentarily. Our YouTube channel, we record all of our career workshops, and they will be put right up on the YouTube channel for you to review. Not to mention Handshake is an excellent resource, obviously, to seek out internship and job opportunities, in addition to some of the other search sites that I referenced. So we'll go over questions at the end. I wanted to kind of go over our contact information here, and then we're going to dive into the demo, and then we will do questions and wrap up. But Certainly, you can contact us at our general email here, rockefeller.careers@albany.edu. This is our general phone. Like I said, we have 2 locations. Myself, I'm located downtown primarily, Christina Cardona as well. Whereas Joan Marceau is located primarily uptown, in our contact office in Humanities B16. I'm downtown in Millenhall 105. Christina is in Millenhall 121B, I believe. She's brand new, so I'm still getting to know her office, but so again, schedule an appointment on Handshake, drop in during our office hours, no appointment necessary. We offer Zoom or in-person office hours too, so we're now going to go over registering your experience. I'm going to stop share momentarily so I can pull up the Handshake link. Bear with me here one moment. Okay. Okay. Let me reshare really quickly. Okay. So when you all log into Handshake, now all of you have accounts on Handshake. They're created for you by our registrar's office once you become matriculated students. So it's a single sign-on situation using similar credentials that you would on other Albany computers. So when you log into Handshake here, this is what the homepage will look like from your perspective. So what your in order to register your internship, what you're going to do is you're going to go to Career Center. You're going to go to this left-hand toolbar and click on Career Center. From here, you're going to see appointments, resources, experiences. This experiences, track your internship or co-op experiences. You're going to click on this option for experiences. From here, you're going to click on Submit an Experience. And essentially what that's going to require you to do is fill out all of the required fields with an asterisk. We actually encourage students to fill out as many fields as possible so that we have as much information, but just the fields with an asterisk are required. So for your template, if you're a Rockefeller graduate student, you're going to pick Rockefeller College Graduate Internship Program. If you are doing an internship for this fall, you're going to click Fall 2024. Now, if you're doing a fall internship, I would assume that you've started or you're starting shortly. And so now is the time to register. For students doing it in the future, spring or summer, like I said, by the time you start your internship, you can certainly do it prior if you prefer. You just don't want to go too much far in advance so that, you want to have it be timely. But you can do it prior and no later than 2 weeks after the start of your internship. You're going to put in the name of the internship organization. Some of these fields are a little redundant due to the form requirements, but location, industry, phone number, email. As you scroll down, this field, this experience field should be their position title, or you will choose from a list. The department, if it's applicable, again, it's not required. So if you don't know that, that's okay. The dates of the internship, the experience type, so that would be internship here, and the employment type. So that would be, are you doing full-time hours, part-time hours? So you'd pick one of those, let's say part-time. You'd put in the salary information. If it's unpaid, you can just select 0 or leave it blank because this field isn't required. There's another salary field below that's required. Offer date, did you accept your offer? Again, when was that date? A little redundant, but we're working on that. Your internship site supervisor email address. And again, filling out the rest of these fields: start date, salary per hours, number of hours per week. Your title is your position, on-site, remote, hybrid, and this is where you will describe your internship duties in the space provided. When you go to the second page, it will require you to put more information about your site supervisor. That's what it will focus on. So their name, their job title, their organization, the address, phone number, email, again, all those kind of components to make sure that then you will click submit. We will be sent to our office for approval. Like I said, once it's approved, it will move on to your site supervisor. If we have concerns about it, we will reach out to you, but that's again why you should connect with our office ahead of time. Now, just showing you quickly, I want to show you how to schedule appointments. Many of you know, but same in the Career Center tab here, you're just going to click on appointments to be able to schedule a new appointment for Rockefeller College students. Let's say you want to connect regarding your resume. You're going to click on Rockefeller College Resume Review, and then you're going to pick an available time slot with a staff member. And you will be able to finalize your appointment from there. There's also this jobs tab, which is where you can find all sorts of full-time, part-time job opportunities, internship opportunities, not to mention events. We have some upcoming career fairs that the central office is hosting that we'll be promoting. Several events coming up. We'll be hosting KPMG and the New York State Assembly next week for information sessions. So check those out. You'll be able to find those as you scroll through the events page. We have another career skills workshop next week. So certainly check this out in terms of events, upcoming events that you can attend, not only from Rockefeller, but from the central office in general, from employers, because ultimately those are great networking opportunities for you all. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording as we close out this presentation. I want to say thank you. And as I kind of after I end the recording, I'll just note there will be time for questions. So if you guys want to ask any questions, but thank you all so much for attending. I look forward to working with some of you, hopefully most of you, and our staff does as well. And I'm going to stop the recording and take any questions.